designation denied by the feds. Mr. Lecanto explains why.
Hafa and good evening, Guam. I'm Julius Santos. It's all confidential. That's what media was told about a campaign finance abuse complaint filed against Congressman Michael San Nicolas at last night's Guam Election Commission meeting. Here's more.
A complaint filed with the Guam Election Commission against Congressman Mike San Nicolas is being kept confidential. The entire process of investigating that complaint and what it alleges will be kept, you guessed it, confidential.
That is confidential.
Even the general process?
Yeah, the general process is it's going to be investigated in a confidential fashion according to the statute.
Even independent board member Pat Seville making sure everyone knew Guam law says investigations and complaints against candidates are kept confidential.
Once the commission has received a complaint that the proceedings, by law, we are required to keep the proceedings confidential.
It's not just the investigation that protects candidates' privacy. The actual complaint itself is supposed to be confidential too. But former Chief of Staff and Campaign Manager for San Nicolas, John Paul Manuel, told the media he filed that complaint, which he's allowed to do. His complaint alleging San Nicolas used campaign funds to carry on an affair with a mistress who, according to Manuel, later became a high-ranking staffer for the congressman. The complaint also alleging San Nicolas accepted an over-the-limit $10,000 donation from a top-level member of the Korean Chamber of Commerce. Manuel alleged the congressman laundered the donation with small-ticket fundraisers. Media descending on the meeting, looking for answers, but Seville warned they wouldn't get any. At least, not now.
If folks came here today expecting a comment on that would be premature.
While the law says the process is supposed to be confidential, the person the complaint is against, in this case Congressman San Nicolas, can opt for an open process in the name of transparency. We sent an email to the congressman asking if he would allow an open process for the investigation of his alleged abuse of campaign funds. That email, not returned. Jennifer Wynn, San Nicolas' district director and campaign chair, turned in copies of federal campaign finance filings to the GEC after a letter was sent to his campaign asking why no filings were made locally. There was no news about a senatorial campaign finance report that wasn't closed before San Nicolas announced his congressional bid or the $8,000 in that senatorial account. Meanwhile, Manuel tells KUAM he's working on filing complaints with the Federal Election Commission and the House Ethics Committee. For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
This is Masi. Chris. Making recommendations while pointing out major issues in the schools, administrators joined the Guam Education Board and Guam Department of Education for a meeting to discuss safety, a conversation deemed necessary by the board after 2 riots. KUAM's Adriana Cortero reports.
In my school, it started because of intoxication. The student was brought up to the office, and we always try to regulate the students so that they're calm. But then there's certain situations that it just aggravates the situation.
Teason High School Principal Sofia Duenas spoke out to the Guam Education Board and Guam Department of Education during a work session on school safety this afternoon on the violence that occurred at her school. On Tuesday, a fight between students grew into a riot of nearly 40 students involved. 7 students were injured, some that required hospital treatment. The administrator believes this to be the root of the problem.
The issue, too, is that these students who are coming intoxicated are really the students of the outer islands. And it takes bravery to say this because they think that we accuse them of these things.
Duenas said she's heard that the students are drinking from Saturday until Monday morning because it's allowed in the home.
I had a conversation just yesterday with a parent, and he admitted that his son drinks at home. But if you're drunk, don't go to school, and that was his words.
From this incident, one student, 18-year-old Sarson Robert, was charged with criminal mischief and underage consumption of alcohol. In addition, the Guam Police Department arrested 4 others on the scene. The Office of the Attorney General confirms they are minors and under investigation with the Juvenile Division. Duenas mentioned she had concerns with GPD and informed GDOE Superintendent John Fernandez, but did not want to state them openly. However, Fernandez informs the board.
I think the school's concerned with how the procedures work with the school's procedures in terms of making sure that we don't inadvertently escalated or look at different ways to address the students who might be at risk of being aggravated just by the presence of law enforcement on campus.
The board and administrators presented recommendations. These included an alternative school program to increase personnel and to hold parents accountable for their children's actions.
That a parent should be held responsible if they allow their kids to drink at home, regardless whether it's a custom in their islands. It's not a custom on Guam. We have a law.
Personnel is the key also. I know it's a type thing that we have to do every school year in terms of the budget, but the legislature needs to know that, if safety is a priority, it should be a priority also at the school level, because we have these kids, these are their second home.
Since the start of the school year, there have been 2 riots and many threats by students to keep the fights going. Administrators said they have gone classroom to classroom to inform students of the disciplinary actions they could face. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
Thank you for that, Adriana. An informational hearing on Guam's medical malpractice mandatory arbitration took an emotional turn as those who say they've been wronged by doctors and hospitals took center stage in emotional testimony. Here is more.
Does Guam's mandatory medical malpractice arbitration law protect doctors who harm their patients? Does the existing law promote apathy among doctors, meaning they just don't care because it's very difficult to hold them accountable? Just some of the questions posed at Senator Theresa Lahi's informational hearing on the law, while lawyers presented on the history of that law and said changing it might make it harder to recruit doctors to Guam. Public testimony provided a glimpse into how some feel the law favors doctors, hospitals, and clinics too much. David Lebowski has become a staunch opponent of the existing law and gave emotional testimony about his late son Asher, who died at GMH. Lebowski currently suing the hospital over his son's death.
No doctors saw him for the last 12 hours of his life. They left him in his room without checking on him until he died. And then they all ran in and said, "Oh, our condolences." The lack of accountability should anger everyone. Name any other profession on Guam that has no accountability as afforded to doctors due to the Arbitration Act. The difference is that our kids are dying.
Attorney Mitch Thompson, who represents several healthcare providers, spoke on Guam's old malpractice law struck down by the Ninth Circuit Court in 1984 and the current law, which calls for mandatory arbitration before a malpractice claim can be brought to court. If an arbitration decision is appealed and lost, the losing party must pay the winning party's legal fees, which Thompson said can sometimes run upwards of $150,000.
The law discriminates against the poor.
Lebowski lamented the upfront cost of arbitration, but there are ways to have that cost waived under the current process, according to Senator Lahi. Meanwhile, testimony from Annalyn Lagrimas shared the story of her father, a patient at GRMC for the last few months, suffering from organ failure and septic shock. Lagrimas said she was told her father was on death's door, but he eventually made a tremendous comeback. But now, he's even closer to death. And Lagrimas says it's because of something that was preventable.
He had fought to stay alive. However, due to negligence during his stay, he had developed a bed sore that they had allowed to progress into a stage 4. And a critical state where the bed sore was now a giant crater-like wound that had reached the bone, and is now the cause of his new infection.
Lagrimas telling the panel of senators at the hearing that her research found upper stage bed sores are, quote, largely preventable and are described as a preventable never event that causes serious patient harm or death. She has since filed a formal complaint against GRMC.
Doctors and nurses had rarely came to check on him or clean him, leaving him to lay down soaked in his feces for long periods of time. The MMMA encourages the lowest quality of care because these hospital entities and health professionals are protected.
The hearing consists of 3 parts and will continue on October 3rd. For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
Few would argue that Guam has a drug problem, but our bid for a high-intensity drug traffic area designation has just been denied by the federal government. So now Governor Leon Guerrero says it's back to the drawing board. Nestor Lecanto has this report.
The application that was submitted in the previous administration has been denied, and we sort of expected that. There were some challenges in terms of how the structure should be done.
The governor was notified in a letter from the national director of the HIDTA program, who wrote that, among other things, Guam did not demonstrate that it is a significant center of illegal drug production, manufacturing, importation, or distribution. The governor disagrees and says they plan to reapply.
The lieutenant governor has, within the last several months, been working with the AG to resubmit in this coming cycle, again, another application to be designated a HIDTA region. So it is very important. As you know, we have a big incidence of drug addiction here.
She said the chances should be bolstered by partnering up with the CNMI and Hawaii. Under a HIDTA designation, an executive board is established made up of local and federal law enforcement and qualifies the area for federal grants and other funding.
And also being recognized here and being able to then provide more attention and more, again, resources from a federal level.
The program is run by the Office of National Drug Control Policy. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Thank you, Nestor. A drug defendant tested positive for meth before being sentenced. Ramil Gonzalez is one of 5 defendants who were arrested in July and indicted on drug charges after a raid. Gonzalez entered a plea agreement. However, his sentence is pending the others that were involved. Gonzalez confirmed in court that he did violate probation and smoke meth. Judge Anita Sokolis said she would give him a second chance. As for the other defendants, Jarek Arandanas signed a plea agreement and also awaits sentencing. The remaining 3 defendants, Madonna Maguelfor, Ronald Bayon, and Miguelito Bataclan, have filed plea agreements under seal. A change of plea was scheduled for September 24th. Well, it's the government's single largest yearly contract, health insurance, and an open enrollment for the new plan offered by the carrier HIDTA International starts Monday. KUAM received a copy of the rates, and Nestor Lecanto has the details.
For the Preferred Provider Organization, or PPO plan, the biweekly rates are as follows. Subscriber only with no dependents, the government share is $108.31. Employee share is $58.65. For subscriber and spouse only, the government pays $196.74. Employee pays $146.28. For a subscriber and children only, no spouse, the government pays $165.33, employee $118.98. And for a subscriber with children and spouse, the government pays $273.08, employee pays $194.20. And for the Health Savings Account Plan, or HAS 2000, the rates are: for single no dependents, the government pays $55.27, employee $135. For subscriber and spouse, the government pays $91.49, employee $26.39. For subscriber and children only, the government share is $76.97, employee is $21.94. And for the subscriber and family, the government pays $127.45, employee $36.89. The Administration Department also released the dates and venues for the open enrollment. Check our website for that and the rates for retirees. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Well, the checks are in the mail, about 10,668 of them, according to the governor's office, totaling about $24.4 million in refunds. These are for the error-free returns filed on or before March 31st, 2019. Adelup says because of the large volume, the checks are being mailed between today and Monday. Well, stick around for more news here on Primetime. You are watching KUAM.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
Matson is in this community. We've been in this community for decades. We're going to be in this community for decades to come. Things will get busy, things will get quiet, but we're going to be here. We're your hometown carrier. And that matters to us.
Reliability is the core of our business. We take pride in ensuring that we arrive in Guam on time as scheduled.
It's our local employees who understand the market, who understand the business, and provide that hard work for you each and every day.
When we hold ourselves to high standards, our customers also hold us to high standards. We establish good business relationships that turn into friendships. That's why it's so important to be here and be trusted by your customers. We want you to trust Matson like your friend, like your family.
Half a day, I'm in the club.
Half a day, welcome to Two Lovers Point.
Half a day, I'm in the club.
At the mall as you enjoy your shopping, dining, or entertainment. You could also win 3 great cars from Atkins Kroll and thousands of prizes in Micronesia Mall's Cars, Prizes, and Getaways game. Present your mall receipts and have a chance to win the renowned performance Chevrolet Camaro, the unapologetic rugged Toyota 4Runner, or the head-turning Lexus ES350 Luxury. Getaways to Manila, courtesy of Philippine Airlines, plus prizes from Foot Locker and Burger King. The more you shop, the more chance to win in Micronesia Mall's Cars, Prizes, and Getaways game.
Your exciting new TV experience is here. Smarter, faster, easier to use. With live TV, recordings, video on demand, and streaming apps, all in a single place. When you're looking for something new, recommendations are tailored to you. Voice-powered, personalized results to find what you want faster. And the unlimited potential of smart home. The new experience from TiVo is here.
It's a special delivery to your inbox every week with your KUAM News Roundup, program advisories, and promotions. Sign up for the weekly KUAM Digital Digest today on KUAM.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Black Construction has been awarded a $178 million military contract for the replacement of housing at Andersen Air Force Base. Specifically, the company will be constructing new duplex buildings with reinforced and/or precast concrete to withstand typhoons. The work is expected to be done in June 2020. And the Office of Economic Adjustment awards the Port Authority $800,000 to go toward a 2020 master plan and feasibility studies for a Guam Customs inspection facility and deep draft wharf and fill improvements project. Over the past 4 years, OEA has been partnering with the port in aggressively developing, executing, and completing major initiatives that modernize facilities. Well, Global Recycling Center has been operating on Guam since 2004 when they acquired an existing company's lease with the Chamorro Land Trust Commission via a 2-year scrap baler agreement. A scrap baler is a hydraulic press used to compress metals and other items, generally for purposes of shipping. Further authorizations were given by the Commission in 2006, 2011, and 2015. However, GRC Inc. does not have an actual commercial lease or business license. CLTC legal counsel Nick Toft says the most recent authorization allows both parties to come to resolution.
If we're going to go with the license idea, just proceed forward with that. The authorization to occupy didn't really have any dates as far as the extension.
That means that the company may continue to operate business as usual for no more than 21 years. Chairwoman Fika Ferran thanked the recycling company for the services they provide for the island.
History and all the documented meeting minutes, it really sounds to me that you've made a good faith effort and you absolutely provide our entire island with a very necessary service.
The CLTC will move forward with drafting the language needed to create a commercial business license for the use of land under the CLTC. In other news, it's election time again, but just for the Democrats, who will be voting for their party leadership on October 19th. Up for grabs are chairman, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, national committee woman, national committee man, and district representatives. Candidates for state office positions may be nominated by the party nominating committee or by petitions signed by no less than 25% of registered party members. The deadline to submit petitions is October 4th. The Democrats currently control the top 3 political offices: the administration, the legislature, and Washington delegate. Well, she's a prominent Hawaiian activist and attorney, but it was a Chamorro rights pioneer who helped shape and inspire her perspective of Pacific indigenous rights issues. Chris Barnett has more in this story.
She was revered during her visit to Guam for the Hagan Daughters of the Pacific panel and the HIDTA Decolonization Conference. But Hawaiian sovereignty activist and human rights attorney Mililani Trask said she looks up to a Chamorro rights icon, calling the late Angel Santos a hero for all Pacific peoples.
I found his name in the internet because we had cancer clusters appearing on Hawaiian homelands where there were military bases. And when we saw that infants were being born with leukemia and we researched it, we found the story about Angel. And that is why he is a hero for all of us.
Santos' 2-year-old daughter Francine died from a rare form of cancer while he was serving in the Air Force at Andersen Air Force Base. He later found through federal documents that the drinking water at Andersen had contained dangerously high levels of tetrachloroethylene. The military knew, but never informed the public. Santos was key in the formation of Nacion Chamorro and through political pressure helped force the implementation of the Chamorro Land Trust Act. He was a 3-term senator who also ran for governor in 1998. He was arrested 6 times and served 6 months in a federal prison. He died in 2003 at the age of 44.
I found his name in the internet because we had cancer clusters appearing on Hawaiian homelands where there were military bases. And when we saw that infants were being born with leukemia and we researched it, we found the story about Angel. And that is why he is a hero for all of us. I think the reason why Angel Santos has kind of become a leader for all of us, even though he may have passed, is because when you learn of his struggle, when you see what videos there are, you can't help but being impacted by his commitment.
Trask said studying Santos' history as an activist and leader taught her valuable lessons about indigenous movements in the Pacific.
I was very informed by Angel Santos' struggle and what happened to him. You know, he was such a hero for all of us. We cannot lose his memory.
Trask said she can see why videos of Santos' speeches resurfacing online have inspired the younger generation of activists and helped make Pacific movements intergenerational. The woman who helped write the UN's Declaration of Rights of Indigenous Peoples says Santos' spirit thrives today in what he has left behind.
And by bringing back videos, his writing, his speeches, our children who are yet to be born are now being inspired by the words of Angel. His memory lives on. His teachings survive.
For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
Thank you, Chris. 8,240 pounds of trash. That's how much was collected during last Friday's Micronesia cleanup. The initiative, spearheaded by the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration, was in support of a regional effort to tackle climate change. GovGuam agencies and several volunteers took part and focused on sites such as Tagachang Beach, Marble Cave, and Tangisan Beach. Other items collected include white goods, commercial and tin roofing, a pickup bed, 2 mattress sets with metal frames, 5 vehicles, 53 tires, and 2 loads of green waste. The District Court of Guam warns residents not to be duped by people trying to scam you into providing your personal information or money over the phone or by email. The scam involves a claim or threat that a prospective juror will be prosecuted for a crime if they don't pay a fine or if they fail to comply with jury service. They also may sound convincing because they use names of legitimate judicial officers. Be aware that courts do not require people to provide confidential information by phone or email. We'll keep it here. Dave Delgado is next, Dial Rent to Own Athlete of the Week.